Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because every time you do, somewhere in the galaxy, an alien realizes they've underestimated humanity. Let's dive in. Captain Elias Reeve stood beside the wide observation window of his vessel, the Celestial Wind, gazing into the void speckled with stars. Despite a decade in deep space, the sight never grew old. "Captain, we have company," said Lieutenant Nirasato, her tone composed but edged with concern. "3 unknown ships have entered our range. Definitely not human." Elias walked briskly to her console and examined the readout. 3 sleek, needle-like ships drifted just beyond the asteroid belt. Cool blue lights ran along their sides. "Like veins. Are they sending any transmissions?" he asked. "Yes, sir. Multiple channels," peaceful tone. "They're requesting a diplomatic meeting." Elias hesitated. Earth had met other alien races before, most peaceful, some not. He nodded. "Tell them we accept. Prepare the main conference chamber." 20 minutes later, Elias sat at a polished table with Lieutenant Sato and Chief Communications Officer Darius Quinn. The airlock hissed open, and 3 aliens entered. They were tall, willowy beings with pale, luminous skin that shimmered in the light. The tallest stepped forward. "I am Envoy Thaler of the Selene Accord," the alien said in a deep, melodic voice. "Thank you for meeting with us, Captain Reeve." Elias stood and shook Thaler's hand, cool to the touch, almost weightless. "Welcome aboard the Celestial Wind, Envoy. What brings you here?" Thaler sat across from him while the other 2 Selens remained still behind him. "Captain, we've been observing your species for some time. You are fierce, unpredictable, and brilliant in warfare. We need your help." Elias frowned. "Help with what?" "A war," Thaler answered gravely. "It has consumed our region of the galaxy for 3 centuries. The Drexari Dominion invades and plunders worlds without mercy. They enslave populations, steal resources, and obliterate cultures. How many stand against them?" Nira asked. 47 species, Thaler said. "We call ourselves the Selene Accord. But the Drexari are ruthless and technologically superior. Each year we grow weaker, they grow stronger." Elias leaned back. He had heard whispers of interstellar conflicts beyond Earth's alliances, but humanity had remained removed explorers, not warriors. "Why humans?" Elias asked. "Because," Thaler said, his eyes bright, "you surprise your enemies. Your tactics are unlike anything in the Accord. You fight like no other race. We believe you can shift the tide." Darius raised an eyebrow. "What are you asking exactly?" "Join us," Thaler said. "Lend us your fleets. Fight beside us. Help us free the enslaved and end a Drexari dominion." Elias sighed. Earth's stance was clear: non-intervention. The Terran Union wanted to explore, learn, and build without entangling itself in the wars of others. "I sympathize, truly," Elias said. "But Earth's policy forbids military involvement in alien wars." "We've chosen peace." Thaler's face fell. "Captain, the Drexari won't stop. They may not have reached your borders yet, but they will. Their greed knows no limits. Have they threatened Earth?" Nira asked sharply. "Not directly," Thaler admitted. "Your world is distant for now." Elias stood, returning to the window. The stars watched silently. "Envoy, I respect your mission. But Earth will not join your war. We'll offer supplies, medical aid, food, anything non-military. But not soldiers." Thaler bowed his head. "Then I thank you for your time, Captain. I only hope your people never learn the cost of neutrality the way we have." As the Selens departed, Elias remained in the quiet conference room. Darius and Nira returned to their posts, but he lingered. Conflicted. Commander Jonah Pierce entered quietly, hands clasped behind his back. "How'd it go?" he asked. "They want our help fighting an empire called the Drexari," Elias replied. "I told them Earth says no." Jonah nodded slowly. "Do you think we're right to stay out?" Elias didn't answer. Outside, the alien ships turned and left shimmering ghosts against a sea of black. Later, Dr. Elise Mendez entered the room, carrying a tablet. "Captain, you should see this. The Salons left us data on the Drexari, what they do to the species they conquer." Elias took the device, scrolling through images and reports. Slavery, executions, entire cultures shattered. Scientists and engineers repurposed as tools of war. "There was a species called the Jurali," Elise said softly. "Mathematicians and pacifists. The Drexari took every last one. They're now forced to build star charts for the Dominion." Elias's throat tightened. "Men, women, children?" He asked. "All of them," Elise whispered. He set the tablet down, eyes hardening. "Earth has chosen peace," he said aloud. But in his mind, the image of Jurili children behind bars wouldn't fade. General Varek stood in the command chamber of his flagship, a vast Drexari warship known as the Wraithclaw. Red slits of light cut across the dark interior, illuminating his scaled skin and burning crimson eyes. He scanned a holographic star map. "General," said his adjutant, Commander Lurak, bowing his horned head slightly, "our scouts have found a species outside the Accord humans. Their world is called Earth." Varrock turned slowly, the air seeming to chill around him. "The ones who refused to aid the Selens?" "Yes, General. They rejected the Accord's plea for help. Declared themselves neutral." Varek let out a laugh like stone grinding against stone. "Neutral species. Make excellent slaves. What do we know of their capabilities?" Lurak reviewed his data. "Their military is modest. They prioritize science and exploration. Their vessels are advanced, but few in number." "Good," Varrock snarled. "Then we'll use them. Seize their outposts, raid their colonies, enslave their minds. Begin with their outer stations. Make them regret ignoring the Drexari Dominion." 6 months later, the Celestial Wind was docked near Earth's moon, monitoring nearby space. Humanity's lunar research facility, home to 300 scientists and families, orbited silently beneath. The station's administrator, Dr. Nolan Graves, was a kind, methodical man who had worked in orbit for 15 years. His daughter Leela was 11, a dreamer who adored stargazing. Her brother Max, age 9, idolized starship pilots. "Dad," Lila asked as they finished breakfast in their compact apartment, "can we go to the observation deck to watch Earth rise?" "Of course, Starlight." Nolan smiled. "Miss Patel said your class would go after lunch." Their teacher, Reena Patel, loved the quiet beauty of the station and the awe in children's eyes as they watched their home planet from afar. Aboard the Celestial Wind, Captain Reeve reviewed patrol reports. "Status update, Lieutenant Sato." "Solar system is quiet," she replied. "Trade ships from Centauri Prime arrived on time. No irregular traffic." "Any response from Earth about the Accord's latest messages?" "President Zara Monroe reaffirmed neutrality," said Darius. "No change." Reeve nodded, though unease flickered in his eyes. Thaler truly believed they'd come for U.S. eventually. Suddenly, an alarm shrieked through the bridge. "Captain!" Sato cried. 3 unidentified ships have just appeared near the lunar station. They weren't on any sensors until now, must be using cloaking. "Put them on screen." The view screen revealed 3 menacing silhouettes, dark and jagged like blades drifting through space. "Any communications?" Reeve asked. "Trying now, wait. They're transmitting." The screen flickered. A Drexari face filled the view scaled. Skin, glowing red eyes, razor-sharp teeth. "This is General Varrock of the Drexari Dominion," the alien growled. "Your refusal to join the Accord spared you once. You will not be spared again. Surrender. You are now property of the Dominion." "Captain." Reeve stood tall. "This is Captain Elias Reeve of the Terran Exploration Command. You are in Terran-controlled space. Leave immediately, or we will consider this an act of war. Varrock laughed, cold and vicious. You know nothing of war, human, but you will. The screen went dark. Battle stations, Reeve shouted. Alert! Luna Base, begin evacuation procedures immediately. At the Luna station, Dr. Graves was already sprinting through the corridors. Ms. Patel. He called, get the children to Bay 3, now. Lila and Max were huddled near the other students. Dad, what's happening? Max asked, voice trembling. Something bad, buddy. But we're going to get everyone to safety. You listen. To Miss Patel, okay? Meanwhile, Reeve watched from the bridge in horror. ETA to Luna Station? He asked. 15 minutes, Sato replied. Evacuation will take at least 20. We can't hold them off? The Drexari ships are. Too large, too powerful. We can try, but we're outgunned. Set course, maximum thrust. We'll buy them time. Back at the station, explosions rocked the hull. Plasma strike on the outer labs, shouted an engineer. We've lost all telemetry. Dr. Graves carried a child in each arm, racing toward the last escape pod. Ms. Patel and others were. Loading frightened children. Go! Now, Graves shouted, shoving them inside Dot as the pod launched. Another blast tore through the corridor. Graves fell to his knees, the fire curling around him as he watched his children disappear into the void. The celestial wind arrived too late. Reeve watched the smoking wreckage of Luna Station drift apart like ash. Only 60 pods had launched. The rest, gone. The Drexari ships are retreating, Sato said, voice tight with rage. Reeve stared at the destruction. He imagined Lila, Max, Miss Patel, all the lives lost in a flash. Send a message to Earth. He said quietly, tell President Monroe, the Drexari didn't attack soldiers. They attacked families. General Varric stood aboard the Wraithclaw, observing sensor feeds from the shattered remains of the lunar station. His command crew worked silently, afraid to speak unless spoken to. We have sent a message, Varric said coldly. Let us see if the humans know how to reply. Back on Earth, President Zara Monroe stood in the Hall of Unity, facing the world. Her eyes, normally calm, were blazing with sorrow and resolve. Pictures of the dead children, teachers, engineers were displayed behind her on a massive screen. My fellow citizens of Earth, she began. Yesterday, 300 of our own were murdered. They were not soldiers. They were explorers, educators, children. The silence in the chamber was absolute. The Drexari Dominion wanted to teach us fear. But they taught us something else instead. She set her speech aside. They taught us that peace, while noble, is not always enough. They mistook our silence for weakness. They mistook our mercy for cowardice. They were wrong. The chamber erupted in applause. Grief had turned into fury. President Monroe raised her voice, clear and unwavering. To the Drexari, you attacked the wrong people. You burned the wrong station. Now you will learn what Earth has kept buried for so long, not weakness, but restraint. Within hours, Earth changed. Admiral Ronan Beck received emergency orders at Outpost Aegis in the asteroid belt. The long-dormant Terra Defense Initiative, a classified fleet-building program, was activated. 12 massive warships came online. Unlike exploratory vessels, these were weapons of war. Admiral, said Captain Arya Lang, Beck's second-in-command. All ships report combat readiness. The crews are angry. Many lost family on the moon station. Good, Beck replied. But keep them disciplined. We're not savages. We fight to protect, not to destroy. Elsewhere, Colonel Freya Lennox assembled the 1st Battalion of Orbital Marines. Armored in exosuits and trained for zero-G combat, they stood silent and ready. Listen up, Lennox told them. The Drexari think we're soft. Let's prove them wrong. General Malik Stone took command of ground operations from Fort Sentinel in Colorado. We're not just defending Earth anymore. We're going to their doorstep. Dr. Adrian Cale worked deep underground, surrounded by prototype weapons. His quantum disruptors, once theoretical, were suddenly priority one. They'll be installed on the fleet within 7 days, his assistant said. Cale nodded. Test them twice. These weapons are powerful enough to tear space itself. Meanwhile, Intelligence Director Lena Graves coordinated Earth's information war. Find their supply lines. Locate every ship, every outpost. If they have a weak spot, I want it on my desk in an hour. Her analyst, Ravi Chun, pointed to a blinking system on the star map. Here, the Drexari rely on 3 major logistical systems. Take those down, and they'll start bleeding. Mark them for strikes, Graves ordered. The galaxy was watching. And so was the Selene Accord. Envoy Thaler read Earth's message from his office on Solanis Prime. They've chosen war, his aide said, almost disbelieving. Thaler nodded slowly. They have. May the Drexari pity what's coming. Back aboard. The Celestial Wind. Captain Reeve stood at his command chair as new orders came through. You're now Admiral Elias Reeve. The message read, you will lead the first expeditionary fleet. Lieutenant Sato looked up from her console. 30 new ships inbound, sir. And they're unlike anything we've built before. Reeve turned to the main display as a dozen massive warships emerged from hyperspace, sleek, monstrous, unyielding. Send a message to command, he said. Tell them the hunt begins now. President Monroe received the message in the war room beneath the White House. She picked up a secure line. Admiral Beck, she said. You're clear to begin operations. Yes, Madame President, he replied. They'll regret ever touching our soil. The first strike came in the outer Drexari territories. Captain Aria Lang led the assault on a Drexus supply convoy 6 cargo ships guarded by 3 cruisers. All ships. Target the escorts only, Lang ordered. We want the cargo intact. Commander. Imani Rhodes piloted the stealth ship Phantom Echo alongside the formation. Ready when you are, she radioed. Now. Within 3 minutes, the battle was over. Human vessels decloaked, hit precise targets, and vanished again. Not a single human was injured. We've captured weapons, food, and... This, said Marine Commander Louise Kent, handing Lang a tablet. Patrol routes for this entire sector, Lang nodded. Perfect. Let's make them bleed. Across Drexari space, the pattern repeated. Sudden attacks. Surgical precision. 0 casualties. The Drexari were unprepared. They are just one species. General Varek roared aboard the Wraithclaw. We fought 100 wars. Why are they winning? Commander Lurak hesitated. They don't fight like others. They don't take territory. They strike where we're weakest. Then they vanish. Varak's eyes blazed. Find their fleet. Destroy it. They're too fast. Lurak whispered. They're already gone by the time we arrive. On Karelia Prime, one of the first liberated worlds, human marines assisted the freed survivors, formerly Dressari slaves. Elder Ravai of the Karelians bowed before. Commander Kent, we thought no one would ever save us. Kent clasped his shoulder. We're not done yet. Can you help us understand Dressari roots? Yes, Ravai said. We built them. Admiral Beck received the data. We can now strike Mortal Station, their central depot. It's barely defended. What about civilians? Admiral Reeve asked. Rhodes' team will evacuate them first, Beck confirmed. We're not the Drexari. We don't kill innocents. The attack on Mortal Station was Earth's greatest victory yet. Using stolen codes and Drexari uniforms, Rhodes' team freed the workers. Minutes later, the Luna's Furious ship named in honor of the fallen station obliterated the depot. This is for Dr. Graves, said Captain Nadia Solano as the reactor went critical. This is for Leela and Max, the Drexari were reeling. Base is abandoned, troops surrendering. Morale collapsing. Back on Earth, Intelligence Chief Graves received a stunning report. 12 Drexari commanders are requesting surrender. They're releasing their prisoners, except, Admiral Beck said. But make sure their fleets are disarmed, every single ship. General Varek had no idea how close his empire was to collapse. But soon, he would, and the humans. They were just getting started. General Virek paced deep within the underground command vault beneath the Dressari homeworld. Dreskar Prime. Above him, Earth's warships filled the sky. 100 vessels, armed with technology the Dominion could no longer match. General, Commander Luruk said carefully, human forces are breaching our outer defenses. They've already disabled 6 orbital installations. Varuk stared at the glowing tactical display, jaw clenched. Then we make them pay in blood. He turned to a control panel. Activate every prison facility. If I can't win this war, I'll make them suffer. But General, that would mean executing over 2 million prisoners. Do it, Varuk growled. Send a message to the human fleet. They have 1 hour to withdraw, or the executions begin. Aboard the Terra's Wrath, Earth's most powerful warship, Admiral Beck read the ultimatum in silence. Across the bridge, President Monroe stood beside him. He's serious, Beck said. Every prison in the Dominion just lit up. How long to get Marines to the camps? Conventional dropships would take hours. Colonel Lennox stepped forward. There's another way. Dr. Kale's teleportation system. We've tested it on small scale. We can send our orbital Marines directly into the camps. All of them? Monroe asked. 3,000 soldiers simultaneously. It's risky, never done before. Monroe took a breath. Do it. Save every life you can. At precisely noon, Earth's entire orbital cores vanished from their ships. They reappeared inside the darkest places in the galaxy. Colonel Lennox materialized in the largest Drexari prison, a field of cages built into a canyon. Dozens of guards aimed weapons at a group of cowering alien children. Stand down, she shouted. The guards opened fire. Lennox and her team responded with surgical efficiency. The battle lasted 40 seconds. Secure the area, she ordered. Evacuate the prisoners. Across Dreskar Prime, the same story played out. Human Marines appearing like vengeful ghosts, disabling guards, extracting civilians, but not all camps were saved. Some were too deep. Some guards acted too fast. Status? Admiral Beck demanded. 60% secured, Lennox radioed. We're taking losses. The Drexari are fighting hard. Beck made his decision. All units begin bombardment. Military targets only, no civilian zones. Show them resistance is useless. The sky over Dreskar Prime lit up as quantum cannons fired. Military outposts vanished in seconds. Drexari reinforcements crumbled under precision strikes. Sir, incoming transmission, said Lieutenant Sato. It's Varrock. Put him on screen. Varrock's battered image appeared, his command chamber shaking around him. Stop your attack. I still hold prisoners. I'll kill them all. President Monroe stepped into view. General Varrock, she said coldly. Your empire is done. Your weapons are broken. Your fleets are ash. Surrender now and spare what remains, Varrock sneered. You're no better than us. No, Monroe replied. We chose peace. You chose slaughter. And when you murdered our children, you forced our hand. The transmission ended. Inside the collapsing bunker, Lurok whispered, Perhaps we should surrender, General. Varrock drew his weapon and shot him without hesitation. The Drexari do not kneel. Moments later, Colonel Lennox's forces breached the compound. General Varek, she said, weapon raised. You're finished. Varrock lifted his gun. Sergeant Mace dropped him with a single shot. Secure him, Lennox said. He faces trial. 3 days later, representatives from the Selen Accord arrived to witness the formal surrender. Envoy Thaler stepped onto the deck of the Terra's Wrath, stunned at what he saw. "You have done what no species has ever done," he told President Monroe. "The Drexari ruled for centuries. You ended them in under 2 years. We had something you didn't," Monroe replied. Unity and fury. General Varek and his remaining commanders stood trial for war crimes aboard the Coalition Tribunal. The evidence was overwhelming: genocide, slavery, MASS murder. The sentence: life imprisonment in a sealed galactic vault. After the verdict, Monroe stood with Admirals Beck and Reeve, Colonel Lennox, Dr. Cale, and Intelligence Chief Graves. They looked down at Dresger Prime, a planet beginning to rebuild. "What now?" Admiral Reeve asked. "Do we rule them? Create an empire of our own?" "No," Monroe said. "We help them rebuild peacefully. And then we go home." "They want us in the Accord permanently," Graves added, "patrolling space. Keeping peace. We'll join," Monroe nodded, "but as protectors, not conquerors. When tyrants rise again, they'll know what happens when they threaten Earth." 6 months later, the Peacekeeper Nova flagship of Earth's new galactic defense wing patrolled the edge of neutral space. "Distress call from the Cerili system," Lieutenant Sato said. "Pirates attacking a civilian ship." Admiral Reeves' voice was calm, cold. "Set course, max speed. Tell them they have one chance to surrender before they meet Earth's justice." As the ship jumped to hyperspace, Reeve looked at the motto carved into the main deck: "We came in peace, you chose war." Never again. The stars were safer now, because Earth had remembered who it was when pushed to the brink, and the galaxy would never forget it.